We're having this whole conversation the other day at work about intelligent design, and then I popped on Facebook, and it was like, I don't know, ironic, I guess. But this guy, Neil deGrasse Tyson, basically from like the 90s was bashing this whole intelligent design and that, you know, God created everything and it's perfect for life in the Garden of Eden and all sorts of stuff, you know what I'm talking about? You heard that argument? That like if the Big Bang Theory didn't exist exactly how it happened, that everything would be fucked up and we wouldn't be able to live. Life as we know it wouldn't exist, and that shows intelligent design is what they claim, like religiously.
Okay.
So this video was just ironic that I found it at the same time. I got a couple videos on here that
So there's not an intelligent design, just the fucking random acts of whatever?
So,
I want to do just a fast tirade.
Let's sort of look at it.
And this will be fast. Look at all the things that just want to kill us, okay? Most planet orbits are unstable. Star formation is completely inefficient. Then Earth, volcanoes, tsunami just killed up, you know, I think that number's higher. Up
just
200,000
talking about all this shit that's destined to kill us. So if there was intelligent design, why did they intelligently design it for us all to fucking die? Basically what I'm saying.
That's of all life that has ever lived is now extinct. Gases at the bottom, you can't smell them, taste them, you breathe them in, you're dead. Okay?
We got that little sliver there. Everyone's born normal. The rest of us are fucked.
Sorry. No idea. And realize, of course, the universe is not here for us, for any singular purpose. My favorite of all is, of course, you eat, breathe, and drink through the same hole in your body, guaranteeing that some percentage of us will choke to death every year. Okay? Imagine if you had a separate hole for breathing and eating. At all.
This is one of those things.
So there is an intelligent design, is that what you're telling me?
Basically, that's what it's saying. That's what it's. Well, see, I gotta show it to Pat. Like Pat's gone down this road where he's become like super deep religious, you know, trying to convert everybody, talk about religion all the time type thing. And our conversations lead to a bunch of stuff, and I'm always like, you know, some of the stuff that he shows me, I'm like, that's cool, yeah. And one of the videos you showed me was like intelligent design and all these different scientists that believe that God exists and this is their explanation and stuff. And I'm like, you know, we got into the topic the one time where he was talking about like gold dust being spread over people that were praying and stuff within churches. And it was like, I did a 10-minute research online, a Google search, and it was like, it was simplistic in the fact of, okay, so if God is pouring gold dust on these people, why are these churches so, you know, why aren't they getting a vacuum and vacuuming this shit up? It's hundreds of dollars a gram of gold, and if it's falling out of the sky all over your entire chapel, why wouldn't you be sweeping this up?
Yeah.
But they don't care, and they don't.
They don't care because it's tax-free.
And then on top of that, all the tests that have been done throughout the areas that showed, because they also showed like rubies that appeared out of nowhere and things when they were praying. They're all proven to be cubic zirconium and fake. You know, and it was like the video that, or the website that I went to that I was trying to show them more, like the people that were doing these tests believe that God exists and that he can do these miracles, but that a lot of people are faking all these miracles and blah blah blah. And you know, so I'm trying to use like that in a context because he doesn't want to, you know, get into it. The other one, I want to talk about this one. The government is controlling the weather with lasers.
Oh, get out of here. The government's not controlling the weather.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning.
I haven't verified this is true, but it says CBS on
Professor at City College of New York.
Reading trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Really good.
Well, this is
crazy, right?
In part because too, I remember
some total, I don't know if it's some bullshit or whatever, but
during the Olympics that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, do those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even trillion-watt lasers now.
Purposes of controlling it, for droughts or floods, to stop the floods.
Water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring
cool.
electricity down the beam.
It's not cool. It's not real. They can't control the weather with
rain.
Are you saying that because you don't want to believe it?
I don't want to believe it. They can't control the weather with laser beams.
You don't want to believe it, but what if it's true? That's all I'm saying. What if it's true?
It's too sunny. I like it to rain. Can you please turn on the laser?
That's not exactly how it's
Can
going
I
to
get
turn
some
out.
sharks with some freaking laser beams in their heads?
It's just cool. And if it's real, like if they actually could do it, imagine that. I mean, obviously, human nature, there's going to be that diabolical guy at some point that's going to be like, I'm going to shoot these lasers and make it flood this whole area. But if not, like imagine if you're going through a drought and you haven't had rain in a long time and it's a desert and you want to put some rain down.
You could just shoot lasers into an empty sky and make it rain.
Well, that's what he wasn't saying. That you should shoot it into a cloud and break apart the ions, or the electrodes.
Yeah.
It's a little too scientific-y
That's not how it works.
for me, but I thought it was cool.
I'm recording still.
Oh, are you recording?
I did. I started up.
Okay, well that's cool.
How about we do an intro?
Alright, I was looking for, I had another one written down here. But alright, yeah, let's start.
Hi, and welcome to the Pursuit of Excellence. I'm Frank,
And I'm Jimmy.
and this is not intelligent design, and the government cannot control the weather with laser beams.
Alright. I don't know, it was one of those things like, so, religion in general, you got a lot of people that, I believe that a lot of people are religious and that they're gullible. And if you are religious and you believe that you're religious, I believe that you have to look deeper into some of these things to see if it's true or not. Like, I believe that you can't just believe because you want to believe and not look into things. You should look into things and see if they're real. If God does exist and he can create real miracles, then there are real miracles that can be found. But if there are no real miracles that can be found, then you're left with a whole other ultimatum or a whole other question involved in your religion. You know what I'm saying? That's all I was getting at there with the whole intelligent design thing. Is like we were talking about intelligent design at work, and we watched a couple videos on it, and the videos were very persuasive, argumentative. They showed a lot of different really cool things.
Sure they were.
So
I like that Neil deGrasse Tyson guy though. He's pretty cool.
yeah, it was
He's
just
pretty
interesting.
pretty knowledgeable about a lot of stuff. I remember Neil deGrasse Tyson said that he got his dog to stop begging at the table because he threw him a jalapeno pepper.
All right, that'd probably do
He
it.
said it one time, the dog's like, nope, ever again.
I won't trust that.
I thought that was pretty funny.
That's interesting, yeah.
And then, so I was reading an article about this a landfill in Pakistan or something where they found a bacteria, a mold or a fungus that was actually eating plastic. It was a big plastic landfill, and there was
Nice.
actually this bacteria that was eating the plastic. And I thought, at first I was a little surprised. I thought plastic would take forever to break down, but then I'm like, well, I mean, we're talking about intelligent design. There's no intelligent design. Like, the universe didn't make itself for us. We just adapted to it, and that's how things work. That's how nature works. Nature adapts to what's around it. So this fungus adapts.
Right.
And you can break down certain different materials to work with.
Right.
Then I was thinking about other things, like if humans go extinct, how's all this stuff going to go away? And just like oxygen breaks down metal, and then we sit here and we breathe oxygen to survive. So even if you could live extremely long, the thing that's like helping us live, oxygen, it's still going to corrode and eat away at your lungs at a certain point, even if you have an infinite life. You're going to have to get a lung replacement at one point.
Or your body will have to adapt to it to start replacing itself on its own.
I mean, if it can do that. But
Well, yeah, I mean, that's interesting, but, you've got, like, the jellyfish that supposedly has lived forever. It's never died, It's, it replaces its cells and sheds its cells every so often, and it basically lives forever.
But
as
at
far
a
as,
certain point, the cells themselves begin to age on purpose. They purposely age themselves.
Right, but if as your cell is aging, it is spawning a new birth of itself at the same time as it's aging, it's deteriorating, a new one's
I
growing.
remember an article about
Replace it?
saying that our cells are aging themselves on purpose. That if we could find the gene or the part in the DNA to turn that part off, then we could keep living on forever. That maybe it would replace itself whole and it wouldn't age itself.
And see, that's interesting.
Did you know every 7 years, every cell in your body is replaced?
Yes.
You're a brand new person every 7 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, what's interesting with that, though, is imagine if everyone could live forever. Well, you might want to just stop having kids at that point because we're going to overpopulate. Nobody's ever going to die.
And definitely run out of room.
Right. Which some can argue, we're trying to stretch out to Mars. They found, microorganisms on the 2 moons of Saturn.
That doesn't seem that much of a shocker to me. I remember I was thinking about, all the stars are potentially suns and could have planets like Earth, but
yeah, mathematically,
we haven't found another intelligent life form. But it just none of them are close enough for it to even be practical. And even if there is an Earth-like planet, it could be 2 billion years behind before a species like us evolves from it.
Or it could be 2 billion years advanced.
Or it could be 2 billion years ahead of us, exactly.
And they already killed themselves off.
The Earth is like 4.5 billion years old.
Something like that.
Like, it's that old. Like, it took a long time before we spawned and came up.
Right, well, that's what it was shown in that video. Like, it took forever for us to even evolve to where we are now.
So there's obviously no intelligent design. Humans are the dominant species of Earth because we are adaptable to change. That's what makes us the most powerful. We can thrive in any environment. Deserts, winter, regular places, Ohio.
We can't thrive in any of those.
Yeah, we can.
No, we can't. We don't thrive, we adapt.
Well, we adapt and we
You
live.
go up to Antarctica right now, where it's sub-zero temperatures. There's not a whole population of people out there. There's a decent amount of people.
And there is bases on Antarctica where people are living right now because we have things to do that.
Yeah, we can, but it's not like everyone's like, let's go to Antarctica and have 20,000 people live in Antarctica, because we can.
Right, it's not practical, but people are living there right now.
That's true. That's true.
We are adaptable.
That is true. We have the ability of choice, and we have the ability to make things. You were talking about the bacteria on plastic. But if you remember Chernobyl, they found this. I think it was a bacteria that was eating the radiation from Chernobyl.
Oh,
We created a nuclear bomb, and it created some type, of nuclear something. It destroys everything, and then it's not livable anymore. And then years later, they find that there's this bacteria that's like, well, it's our job to start eating the radiation. Like, it just...
Everything survives off something, huh?
You remember that guy, damn, I can't remember his name. He used to be on TV all the time with it was like dares that you had to do, eat the bugs.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan, there you go.
That guy's awesome.
Joe Rogan. Did you ever hear his theory on things?
I heard all the stand-up. I love it. Yeah.
He's got a pretty twisted, sense of things, and he likes to experiment with probably a little too many drugs to mention. But his theory was like that we're like the ants at a picnic to Earth. Like, we're literally designed, his belief is that we're literally designed to destroy the Earth. Like, we're supposed to just use and consume up all the stuff on Earth, but as we're doing that, we're eventually going to get replaced by something else that's going to continue to eat everything else. And, we're designed to do that. That's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to just fuck shit up all throughout the Earth, and Earth is going to eventually replace itself, and everything's going to rebalance itself. And he believes that it doesn't matter how much harm we end up doing to the Earth, because eventually we're either going to eradicate ourselves by that,
or the Earth is going to do it.
Or the Earth's going to do it for itself, or it's going to adapt.
Right, there's going to be a big climate change, maybe shift of tectonic plates. Like, it's not when, it's inevitable that something like that's going to happen.
Well, yeah.
I remember thinking about the beginning of Earth. There was the plants were huger, and there was way more oxygen. There was so much more oxygen. That's why the dinosaurs.
40% more, yeah.
That's why the dinosaurs grow to be so much fucking bigger than what we are now. We
Right.
only grow and adapt to a certain amount of the oxygen that keeps us alive. So if the oxygen in the atmosphere increases, people are going to increase in size. Like, I think there's where's got a big oxygen level? I think it's like Sweden or something. And there's people that they're bigger. They're just bigger.
I mean, there's also the stories about like the rainforest and stuff where you have all these plants that are reproducing oxygen at a higher rate, but of course, if you know anything about oxygen, most of our oxygen actually comes from the algae on the ocean, not from the plants, which most people misconceive.
Oh, dude, that's totally where it comes from. Well, there was something that's with like the beginning of the oxygen started because there was most.
Yeah, single cell organisms to become multifunctional cell organisms that eventually start eating. They start eating the whatever nitrogen, the different gases in there, and that eventually rises and creates the oxygen levels. And then the algae basically eats a bunch of other stuff and produces oxygen. That's all it does. But it's something like 70 or 80% of the oxygen, or I don't know the actual stats, so I don't want to,
Right.
sound like I do. But it's a high percentage is algae.
Algae produces a lot of oxygen for us.
Right. Right, which is strange because, we're destroying all this all the time. Like, we're destroying the algae in the ocean, and we're throwing a bunch of garbage in the ocean, and we're destroying the environments of these things. But you're right. Like, if we were to add 10% more oxygen to everything, we'd be taller, we'd be bigger, we'd have...
Stronger, faster, more
I don't know if we'd be stronger by any means. I mean, we'd just be bigger. They were saying, if you watch some of those, like, geeky videos or science videos that talk about, if the oxygen level was to increase by 10% for 5 minutes, ants would become, like, huge, and bumblebees would be, the size of a table, and, like, how these creatures, as they were born, and the oxygen levels and how it would impact their growth would drastically change the size of what they would be.
Damn.
And that's just oxygen levels. And that's insane. So, I remember reading a book for school, and it was a book that was talking about the future. And it was like the future, and this person travels in a time machine, and he comes to the future and believes that he's going to be with, these taller, stronger, more physically built people, and he ends up coming to the future, and there's these people that are like 3 feet tall, and the entire world has like shrunk down to little people that are real fragile and weak because they don't need anything, because they've literally overcome and have the technology to defeat everything. So they're weak, they're fragile, they're real small, and they don't need anything, so they don't have to defend themselves. Like,
oh wow,
that's
interesting.
Natural selection, the thing of the herd, all these things, they disappeared because we evolved past it.
There's Darwinism. Darwinism says that the strongest will survive, but I think we established before that that's not true. The strongest don't survive. It's all about Richard Dawkins' selfish gene. It's just the gene adapts to whatever it has to adapt to. If it needs to attack more, it's going to attack more. If it needs to run and hide more, the future of that DNA, or whatever who was born, is going to adapt to that, and it's going to run and hide more.
Well, see, I don't know if I necessarily believe that. It's more of like...
It totally goes along with the thing that you were saying about the people. Like, they're smaller and weaker because they don't need to be...
Well, yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, in today's society, I mean, you can find hundreds of homeless people that are surviving on barely anything, and yet we're here eating 3 square meals a day. I think that we need that 3 square meals a day, plus snacks and everything else to make us survive. There's people...
We only think we need that because that's what TV tells us.
That's what society tells us. Not TV,
no.
Society. Media makes a huge impact.
Most of the masses get most of their information from the goddamn TV and the commercials. Where's all our slang come from?
Well, you could
the
also...
lingo that come from.
You could argue the radio as well.
Most of this shit...
The radio as well.
It's because of the TV and the radio and stuff.
Which is the general rules of society that are laid out on...
What's breakfast? What do you eat for breakfast?
See, I'm on third shift, so I eat dinner for breakfast. Okay. But I mean, if I was to normally eat breakfast,
you like cereal and pancakes. Why? Oh, that's not the commercial.
No, I usually eat scrambled eggs.
Yeah, okay.
I'm an egg guy. I like
eggs too.
Scrambled eggs, omelette, cheesy egg, biscuits and gravy.
Like chicken and dumplings for breakfast. You already know that's dinner.
Well, see, and that's a cultural thing too, because you go to the different parts of the world, they have different types of breakfast as well.
Yeah, but they have different advertisements as well.
All I'm saying is I don't think it's just the media. I think it's the culture as well.
It's both. The media adapts to whatever culture is it in.
That's not true, because America's a melting pot.
Sure.
We haven't. It is a melting pot.
It is, but everyone agrees most of this stuff. Like America, but we go to China, then sure.
Well, no. Okay, so you can't say America though, because
raw fish and whatever.
Listen. Okay, what we consider breakfast here in Madison, Ohio, is different what they consider in Miami, Florida, or what they consider in California, or what they consider.
No, they're not. You go to Tennessee for breakfast. The big difference is like you got to have grits or something. There's still basically eggs and bacon, but maybe some grits or whatever.
Well, okay, if you're saying like a continental breakfast or something here or whatever, but that's not true. I've had some breakfasts that are very off. I mean, some people don't eat certain things for breakfast because they're in a different area and because they have a different culture or a different relationship.
We've established that.
That's all I'm saying.
I had a friend that his favorite type of breakfast was like a Mexican breakfast. It was like a burrito type, big, whatever, nasty looking, whatever. I don't know.
So yeah, breakfast burritos too. They're good too.
Oh yeah.
Scrambled eggs.
How do we get back to food?
I don't even know how we got on this crazy side spell.
I seen a thing. Burning Man happened. Do you know Burning Man?
Yes.
It's like a big festival.
Yeah.
There was a Burning Man at Burning Man. A guy ran into the fire and like committed suicide.
Huh.
It's fucking dead.
I'm not surprised. I've seen some videos online of Burning Man. It gets wild there. Like people go crazy at this Burning Man. All these people camping out, doing a bunch of fucking drugs and shit. Yeah. Some hardcore.
Like, I could totally make it through that fire. No, you don't understand, bro. The fire's calling me.
Yeah.
It's fucking calling me. We're like brothers, man.
And that's you gotta question like how do you explain that?
Natural selection and adapting. Did you know melanism is a development of dark colored pigment? It is the opposite of albinoism.
Melanism?
Yeah, like in animals, you know what albinos are, right?
Yeah, they're light skinned.
Right. So in animals, there's the opposite. Did you know that? You can be completely black, completely dark pigment. You know, see a bunch of that. I didn't know that either.
Well, I mean, I guess I should have known it because we all, everything's on kind of a spectrum. So if you have the super white, then you have the super dark. The super.
Yeah. Find all these dogs and cats and just like even a penguin. You're supposed to have the white, but some of them just. It's not super common, Like,
well, yeah.
But they're just all black. I thought they were pretty sweet looking.
That's pretty awesome.
I wanted to talk about. We mentioned Antarctica before. We were talking about people living in Antarctica.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with Antarctica at one point. I still kind of am. And if you know the name of my fucking DeviantArt, frankenthing@deviantart.com, or the YouTube Frankenthing, obviously. The Frankenthing it's from John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
1982. You know that movie?
Yes.
They're going to Antarctica.
Yes, I've watched the old one and the new one.
The new one disappointed me.
Yeah,
because they used the CGI.
Yeah.
If they wouldn't have used the CGI, I would have been more on board. But the original was my goddamn favorite horror movie ever. Do you know that when it's all like the dog's all mutating and changing and shit?
Yeah.
I fucking love that.
The original was so much better.
It was totally better. Like the whole body horror image thing and the practical effects, it just feels more real. Even though it's kind of corny now, but it's still got that feel that I'm like, dude, that thing's gross and it's nasty and it's still wet.
See, I feel like CGI kind of took over for the artistic capabilities of making something realistic. Like, you can use some latex and some colors, and you can make a creepy looking monster like they did on the original John Carpenter's The Thing. They used original things and attached it to make that dog look
practical effects.
Right.
It was all real stuff that they
versus
built.
The fake computer animated stuff, which then
the
becomes
computer animated
fake.
stuff. It just takes me out of stuff. And like it's not real. It doesn't have the same feel to it. No matter how good you think they do.
It just needs to get better.
Well, they're not better yet.
Well, certainly, but
so
if you've ever watched a marathon of The Twilight Zone, you can literally see the adaptations and changes that happen throughout media, and you're like, they're so impressed by the factor of this like fake looking fire, and there's like a whole 2 or 3 episodes of The Twilight Zone where there's this fake fire theme, and then they realize like this fire looks like crap, and then they get rid of it and they move on to something else, and then 30 episodes later, all of a sudden they've got this more realistic looking fire, and it comes back, and it's like, wow.
So I wanted to go to Antarctica. I've talked about it before. When I got out of the Marine Corps, I applied to this place where they were stationed in like the Murdoch Station. I don't know if that's right, in Antarctica.
Okay.
And they needed the exact job that I did in the Marine Corps. It was a bulk fuel specialist. I'm like, holy shit, fuck yeah.
Right.
I applied for it, and I did like an over-the-phone interview, and then she told me I had to do a bunch of forms and fill stuff out, that I could be on like the backup team and just keep applying, and then if a position opens up, I go. I never followed through, which I should have, but I didn't. But it was still pretty interesting.
Why not?
I don't know.
Whole part out,
The first 15 minutes was just watching videos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, we'll just cut that. Alright, so Antarctica. There was this new show on Netflix called Atypical. Did you watch this?
I have not.
It was kind of with this autistic kid trying to go on dates. He was on the spectrum. He wasn't like fully autistic, but like he can function.
Alright.
But sometimes he has trouble. But this kid was also obsessed with fucking Antarctica. Like he loved Antarctica, and I was like, ah, fuck, am I on the spectrum?
What? Start making you question that?
Look.
Nice. See, why? Why Antarctica? Are you a fan of the cold? Like, do you like to be cold?
I do prefer to be cold. I think it's more like it's an alien place, and it's different, and it's away from society, and it just feels like something I would want to go experience. Not like live, but for maybe a couple months.
Well, yeah, but see, there's deserted islands that are completely empty and away from everyone, and there's islands that only have so many people.
There's something about the snow and the ice and stuff.
All right.
That I'm really drawn to. Like, winter is my goddamn, it's a favorite. Like, my favorite part about the winter is just going outside on my deck, smoking a cigarette and just looking over, and then, like, if it's snowing and the ground's just completely covered in white, that's my favorite part. Completely at night. Everyone's asleep. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm a little drunk and I'm smoking, and then it's just snow, and and I can see my breath, and there's something about it that just that's totally dope. So he was on a spectrum. Did I tell you about the drunkest guy ever? I was at a bar. I went to a bar and I sat down and I started doing whatever. And there's it was crowded, so I sat and this guy was right next to me. And he was acting fucking weird. And I'm like, great, I just sat next to the drunkest asshole ever. He's gonna try to interact with me, and it's gonna throw me all off. He's like moving around and rocking and like shouting out random words. I'm like, God damn it. Should I just leave? Alright, turns out he was special. He wasn't drunk at all. He was just a little autistic. Anyways, I still didn't want to sit next to him. Not that I'm trying to be mean, but it was still just, he was moving around a lot and shouting out. And at one point he was like, it's payday. Because it was payday. But like his parents were there. He was like in his mid-20s, and then his parents were there. And they were like 40, 50 or whatever. It was just weird. It was random. I was like, fuck, why is this? Oh, good. This guy's so drunk. I'm like, oh, wait. He's not drunk at all. No.
That's always interesting, too, is the perception of things. Your perception changes everything. So it's like, you originally came in there thinking he was like hammered, and you find out that he's not hammered at all, that he's just, he's got some type of a health issue or a mental issue. And then it's like, oh, all right, I guess that's a little better, right? Like, in a sense.
Yeah, it was a little better.
But it changes everything, just your view on things.
Yeah, my whole view, my perspective was totally like, right? Because at first I'm like, oh, this guy. And then, oh, no, not at all. Totally wrong.
But, like, imagine just your thought, too. Like, imagine if that guy had, like, dropped his drink on you or something, and you thought he was drunk. You'd be like, you motherfucker,
I might have done
right?
that, yeah.
You'd have no idea, but then you find out that he's not.
Then I would have looked like a complete asshole.
Right.
Because everyone else probably knew, and I'd be like, what the fuck's your fuck? And then, like, whoa, dude, it's not good to be here. He's handicapped. I'm like, what? Oh, my God. No, I could totally see that happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Yeah, me too. Totally. You a fan of ICP at all?
Not really.
Did you hear the Juggalos are going to go march on Washington, D.C. because they're labeled as a gang?
I did actually see a flyer that somebody put up on Facebook about it. The Juggalo March or something. And they had this whole flyer and trying to get people to get involved. And I was
goddamn clowns, man.
What the hell, man? Yeah.
They're gonna go march like a protest.
See, I found, and not to get into too much politics, but like I've seen a lot of people like now these celebrities are now like, oh, I'm gonna be a politician now. Kid Rock, throwing it.
I did see that Kid Rock
throwing it in to be president,
Ball with the ball, the bang, vote for me.
Yeah, right. Right. I I watched one of his videos. You know, like it was like a 20-second clip of him talking, and he's like MF and everything, and I'm like, dude, you're going to be president. Like, you can't just be like, listen here, motherfuckers. Like,
it's what was that movie we were talking about where everything gets dumbed down? All this stuff.
Well, there was a book originally, Idiocracy, is the movie that I talked to you.
Yes.
That's one of my. I honestly believe that Idiocracy hit a point that's actually happening.
It's pretty. It's
I believe it's accurate.
It's a little accurate.
I mean, it's way far. You know, obviously it was a comedy. Like they made it into a movie that's far-fetched.
But it's still.
I don't believe that Starbucks is going to turn into a brothel or anything, or Carl's Jr. is going to take over the FDA. You know, but.
You like a big fucking fry.
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Extra big ass fry. You know? You're an unfit parent. Your kids now belong to Carl's Jr. Carl's Jr. Fuck yeah. Like, what the hell? But I do believe that there is a dumbing down that's occurring. Like, people in general are so, I don't know, I call it like the fog or the haze of ambition, of everything. We're so focused on watching TV or watching the newest episode or something, or being on our phone or
I
playing
love
games.
watching the newest episode.
Well, yeah, but think about it. Okay, so if you go back 20 years when this stuff didn't exist, and not saying that people didn't fuck off and do nothing on their off time either, what else did you have to do but read a book or learn something?
Well, isn't that the same thing?
Kind of. See, we're so distracted now that we don't even notice things that are going on around us, is what I'm saying. But people in general, we're depressed. We're a lot more depressed. Yet, if you ask everybody, if you take a poll or a stats, out there, it's going to show X amount of people think that they're happy. Like 80% of Americans that believe that they're happy. But then you also go and you look at the welfare and you look at the health of people, and it's like 80% of us are on drugs for depression. We're medicating ourselves because we can't handle it. There's no social interaction. Think about what would happen when you sat on an elevator back in the day. You'd have to talk to people, or you'd have to stand there in silence. But now you could be like this on there. Don't worry about it. And not even care that there's anybody sitting next to you. When you're standing in line in a grocery aisle and you've got 20 people in front of you, or you're sitting at a concert hall and there's 20 people in front of you before you go inside. You used to be able to talk to people, and people wanted to talk because they were bored.
People that talk to people talk to people. People that didn't talk to people didn't talk to people.
There's
not much difference from what we were before and what we are now.
I don't believe that at all.
People are less happy because everything's given to us. We're more like spoiled brats that are just like, oh, everything sucks.
Well, we were also great. We were raised that way. Our generation was raised like that.
If you spend more time going outdoors, eating healthy, and then just doing projects with your hands and doing your own thing, you're going to be more happy. Where people think, no, I give me this, give me, and then they're still depressed because they didn't work for anything that they actually have.
To a degree, yeah.
I don't have a full thought on this, but the dumbing down of America thing we're talking about, there was a video I watched. Do you know that on YouTube, watching a video of a guy watching a video is a thing? They're called reaction videos.
Yes.
That seems dumb to me. You just watch people watch a video that you've seen to see how they react?
Okay, so the interesting thing about that is that if you're sitting with a group of friends and you tell a joke, when you tell that joke and you hit the punchline, you're waiting for all of their reactions to your joke, right?
Yes.
And seeing their faces as that reaction occurs is what makes the joke worth it. Whether or not they're laughing or so-and-so, shot milk out of their nose, blah, blah, blah. Like, the reaction is what you're looking for when you're making that joke. So, because we don't have these general typical conversations with people anymore, we have to then go online and find videos of other people reacting to things so that we can watch the reactions because we're not interacting anymore. You see where I'm going here? Because that's what's happening. Most of the people, think about, okay, so what do you do when you get off of work now?
I go home and turn on my computer.
Okay, and then what?
I drink alcohol
and
I'm on the internet.
You do absolutely no interaction with people. Okay, now imagine if you had no computer, no TV, no nothing, what would you be doing?
I don't know.
You'd be probably drawing a little bit more because that's what you do, it's your artistic capability. But at some point, you would get mind-numbingly bored. There'd be nothing else for you to do in
I'd
your
probably
house.
leave my house more.
And you'd go and interact with people more. And yet we don't. We don't do that. And it's not to say that that's wrong by any means. I mean, for some people, it's actually probably a good thing. We don't want some of these crazy people out there on the streets as much, you know, or whatever the case may be. But I'm just saying, the interaction in general. So now you're talking about these reaction videos, and that's, like, it started creeping up. And to me, it's almost like that filler. Well, we're trying to get our technology to then fulfill us in ways that we can't get fulfilled normally. So when you go online and you're bored and there's nothing else to do and you're feeling sad, or you're looking on Facebook and everyone's life looks so perfect even though it's not.
Yeah, it's not.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dude,
well, when you
so
post on stuff, when you post
I was-
online, you're not posting the terrible
Do you
shit.
ever scroll and
I don't.
scroll and scroll, and then you get this feeling of existential dread. I
Yeah.
kind of hope it comes to an end, but it never does.
No, I've
Unless
never-
my Wi-Fi fucks up, and I'm like, God, fucking,
Keep loading! Damn it!
why isn't this loading?
No, I actually try to avoid Facebook a lot. I mean, I keep my Facebook account, and I go on there, and every once in a while I'll periodically check on it. But I check on it for a case of emergency type things. Like, if I need to get a hold of so-and-so from the Army that I had, you know, back in the day, like, we're still friends, we just haven't talked in a long time. And so my way of communicating with them, if something was to ever go down, would be through Facebook. You know,
So-
so-and-so gets shot or dies, or, you know, has
Over
a
all
heart
of
attack.
this, what's the conclusion?
There's not really much of a conclusion to this. It's just the fact that it's an interesting thought.
All right.
Seems like you're not very interested in this.
Well, no, I think it's over.
Alright.
I think we've actually cruised through this one this time. And I need to stop because it's too much.
Fuck. I think I had more. That's alright. We'll save it for next time.
Yeah. All right. So that's it. This has been the pursuit of excellence. I'm Frank,
I'm Jimmy.
and see you next time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that. See you next time.
And keep watching videos and stuff, even though we were saying that's probably bad for you. Don't stop. Just keep click the like button or something. Help me.
Let us know you're out there.
Help you. All right.